The visual side of the project is really, really important to me. I will do it with my sister, who goes by the pen name DeWack, because she wants to sound hard. I wanted to create a whole kind of like world around me. I'm a solo artist, and that gives me the ability to do that. It adds to this ringleader thing that I wanted to get across. I've got cartoon characters like Lollipop Girl and Billy Brown that are based on different songs on the album. They all live in their own kind of little nook and cranny of this imaginary world that I've created. Lollipop Girl lives in the Emerald Forest, and her whole spec is that she kind of lives in the forest, and she spends her whole life running away from the monkeys, in particular one called Choo Choo, who wears a little top hat. And she runs away from him because he's always after her lollipop, and she has no idea why. Anyway, there's another one, Billy Brown, who used to be married to, you know, his perfect wife and his perfect 2 kids, living in some kind of brilliant suburban house, who then falls in love with another guy, has a little breakdown, and has now run away to Mexico. But he keeps jumping around South America, and the whole point with Billy Brown is that you never know where he is, and it's all about clues to find out where he is. The style of the drawings is very kind of, it's almost like the record. It's kind of hyper-real. It's got elements of reality in it, but it's completely fantastical. The outlines are really bold, and the colors that fill them inside the outlines are so bright they come almost in primary colors. Everything is very obvious, but they suggest something a little bit darker. So although it looks happy, there's always this kind of tension because the implications are kind of twisted, almost psychotic and quite dark. I love that tension between the two. That's something that I always try to get across between my music and my lyrics, you know. Happy sounding music, very kind of twisted lyrics, and they go together really nicely. It empowers the message. So I've set up this world, and over the course of the year now that I've made the album, the 2 things that I'm excited about are playing live and also pushing the narrative of this world as far as I possibly can. So I'm commissioning animations. We've got viral animations that are going out all over the internet now. And I know that MTV in the United States is collaborating to introduce my characters and my whole visual world to the public. And, you know, so you have all these little animations about all the characters, and then also we've got competitions online and interactive games, and we're trying to bring the characters to life in different cities around the world. And also I'm commissioning this kind of audio soap opera that you can download as a podcast, and there'll be little episodes to get. And it's kind of like a soap opera with all these characters talking to each other. So you have their highs and lows, their normal daily life, and their dramas. And, you know, just kind of playing it through to some kind of ridiculous conclusion at the end. Playing it through to some sort of ridiculous conclusion at the end. It's almost like I want the album that I've made over the course of the year to become the soundtrack to this visual world that I've created. The line goes, I try to be like Grace Kelly, but all her looks are too sad. When you're writing lyrics, you always want to kind of use words that immediately conjure up imagery. That's a great one to use, I think. She had an amazing life. She was this kind of, you know, she was the first ever superstar, really, of the silver screen. And then married into a royal family, and then had this tragic end. If I had said, I try to be like Mariah Carey, that wouldn't have been quite as effective, would it? Or I try to be like Craig David, but all his looks were too sad. No, it doesn't work. So, you know, it's kind of an imagery thing. My grandmother had an obsession with Grace Kelly. Grace Kelly and Oprah. I will be playing Glastonbury. I will also be playing Coachella. And I will be doing a few other festivals around the world. So, for someone who hasn't really been to many festivals in his life, I'm certainly making up for it this year. I've got my earplugs already molded, so I'm fully prepared, and I've got, you know, my festival kit kind of already planned in my head. Fantastic. Basically clothes that can get very dirty and still look clean. Live is really important. It's where it all comes together. You can undo all the, you know, decisions you've made in the past about the way you make the record. And there's a whole carnival theme to what I do. I did these shows around the United States just very recently, and for instance in Los Angeles, because people had to queue up outside in order to get in, we were playing at the legendary Roxy on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood, in order to entertain people, because I hate waiting outside gigs. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let's entertain them while they're waiting outside. We had over 1,000 giant balloons brought in for the gig in all these different colors. We had people on stilts, clowns, jugglers, all entertaining people on Sunset Boulevard as they were waiting to get in. Because there's no point getting bored. What do you want? You've got people coming to see your show, and they're standing outside and they get bored. So they start the gig bored, and then you have to kind of warm them up. So I wanted to kind of undo that. I'm doing a gig in London on Monday. I'm the most unlikely fashion-y person in the world. I'm the kind of person that walks into shops and they follow me around because I look so scruffy they think I'm going to steal things, especially in the big coats that I tend to wear. No joke. So I just did this thing. I was one of the people who got photographed for Paul Smith for his new campaign, and it's kind of spun out of control, as things tend to nowadays. I'm kind of trying to get used to that. But, you know, I think as far as style is concerned, I'm not very fashionable at all. But I think the most stylish thing about anyone, is just trying to be yourself. I'm a pilot, and I would like to, fly around the world once. Would be great before I die. Lies. I don't know. Everyone wants to know what I do. You know what? I do so much music. I try and pretend all the time that music is just something that I do, and that it doesn't really take over my life. But the more you hang out with me, and the older I get, the more I've realized that it's kind of devoured my entire life, and everything I do is trying to kind of get inspiration. Luckily, I have involvement in the other sides of my project, like the visual side and all this other stuff. And also my live shows are quite an event sometimes. So I'm able to spread my little tentacles into different pies. And the art thing is obviously a big relief away from making noise, which is what I do mainly for a living.